When we say the Lachma Anya, we emphasize the fact that we hope that next year will be redeemed in Yerushalayim. One could clearly pose the question, if we're saying the Lachma Anya from the perspective of being in exile, what are we celebrating in the first place? We're celebrating the Jewish people's redemption from Egypt to go to the land of Israel, ultimately to get to the land of Israel. We're not there. Maybe we should suspend the Seder until we ultimately are redeemed. And then we could look back. We could be happy about the fact that we've been redeemed in our times, and we could look back with joy about the fact that the Jews were redeemed in the times of Egypt. Why even celebrate the Seder now? The Dubno Maggid has a beautiful mashal. The Dubno Maggid says, imagine that there was a person who came to his wealth from great, great poverty. And there was a certain moment, a certain financial decision the fellow made on a certain date. And from that decision and on, he went on to great wealth. And his practice would be that every year on the anniversary of that decision, he would celebrate. He would get his family together, and he would even wear poor man's clothes to remember the fact that he used to be a poor man, and now, with God's help, he became a wealthy individual. And the family would celebrate this date for many years. One year, unfortunately, there was a terrible fire, and his possessions were gone. And truth be told, that year at the celebration, he didn't have to be creative to come up with poor man's clothing. He was wearing poor man's clothing because that's all he had. And as he proceeded with his annual ritual, his children asked him, "Why are you celebrating? We don't have anything. Why should you celebrate?" And he explained to them, "You don't understand. It's true, we had a terrible fire. We lost much. But I had lent out money to a variety of borrowers before the fire. Our accounts receivable are tremendous. Once the loans ultimately come back, we'll have a great deal, and we'll have our wealth in hand yet again." The Dubno Maggid explains that this is our perspective at the Seder. It's true, we're in exile, and we're waiting to return to Yerushalayim, to return to the Beis HaMikdash. We're waiting for all of these things. But the difference between our situation now and the situation of the Jews in Egypt is they were just waiting. They didn't know if they would ever be redeemed. We had the redemption of Egypt, and we have God's assurance that He ultimately will redeem us again. So we've tasted that wealth as a nation before, and we're confident that the wealth will return. It might not be in hand right now, but it certainly is an account receivable. And therefore, regardless, even through the terrible times, even through the Holocaust, Klal Yisrael could sit at the Seder with confidence. Hashata hacha, this year we're here. L'shana haba ba'arad Yisrael. Next year we'll be in the land of Israel.